You know, I've often thought I'd like to do a YouTube video. Don't really know why. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos and I like watching people out on their adventures. Oh, wouldn't that be cool to just go out to places and record it? Not really so much as a look at me. It's more of a journal of my own experience. And I thought, what can I put in it? But then again, you know, I look at a lot of videos and you think, well, there's really not much in it. It's just kind of entertaining to watch. Maybe it's just living vicariously through other people's lives. When I'm not out camping, I get to experience a bit of camping and I pick up ideas from what they're doing. And I'm not here thinking I'm going to make videos that'll be full of advice or, you know, show and tells or maybe a bit of show and tell, because I think some of the stuff that I have might be helpful to others. Certainly no advice. I'll only say what works for me. I'm not going to preview or promo products unless I've used them and I found them as a good experience, but I won't do it as a paid promotion. I just don't care about that aspect of making a video. I'm not interested in making money on a video either. I don't really expect to get a lot of views. I don't expect to get a lot of subscribers, but I thought at least if I can put this out, I can chronicle what I'm doing. And I can look back at it as a bit of a record of history, if you like, of my camping experiences. So right now, I'm up in a place called Angus Vale. It's a campground. It's looked after by Parks, International Park, the Mitchell River National Park, I think it is. Very well kept. There's good composting toilets and non-drinkable water. And some nice clear spots right on the Mitchell River. It's not a terribly good access river. I did come up here with the intent to do a bit of fishing, but the river is running pretty full at the moment. I don't know, must be a lot of ice melt or something around, but it's just flowing down pretty fast, so it's really making it difficult to sort of A, get access, and B, you know, be very constructive with a lure or any kind of bait for that matter. So I think I just enjoy the experience here. I'll give you a look around at what goes on here. There's absolutely no one here. It's about the 13th of September. No, it'll be the 16th of September. And there is absolutely no one here. Midweek, today's Thursday, and I tell you, there is just absolutely no one around. And except about 1 million kangaroos and lots of birds. So it's very quiet and peaceful, and it is a cracker of a day. It's just, there's not a cloud in the sky. So I've picked it well. Just got to entertain myself for the 2 nights I'm going to be here. I did stay here last night. Wasn't too bad. It wasn't super cold, but it was fresh. And this morning I've just tried to light a little bit of a fire, but nothing much going on. There's really not a lot of wood around here, and I don't bring much wood if I come at all, if I bring any at all. So I've made a cuppa on the stove, and yeah, just sitting here in the sunshine, enjoying it for the moment, looking around at some of the kangaroos in the distance and the mountains. The mountains are fantastic. It's almost untouched scenery. It's really beautiful. Anyway, I'll give you a look at that. 1, 2, 3, I travel around in this little caravan I bought about a year ago. It's only a 12-footer or 11-footer or something, and I did it up. Did a few mods and cons to it just to get it to my level of comfort. Put a diesel heater in it, a fan, bit of electrical system, and yeah, it's easy to tow. It goes most places. It's not really an off-road van, so it's got to be, you know, pick my spots. This side has a little campfire, as you can see, but look at this sky, absolutely beautiful. There is not a cloud in it, and these mountains and the ranges, they're just fantastic. But like I said, it's peaceful and quiet here. There's absolutely not a soul around. You'll see over here in the distance, there's good toilets. They're actually drop toilets, but they're very good, very clean. And they do have tank water on the back of them, but that's predominantly, I suppose, to wash your hands. You don't want to drink that, it's not treated. And the bird life here is great too. I've just been awoken this morning by all the beautiful bird noises, and yeah, I don't think there's anything better than waking up to bird noise. It's just super. I love it. Especially when they come down close and they sort of aren't too wary of you, and then they hop around your feet or, you know, come nearby. That's just magic. Well, that's the coffee done. That was good. Now, a lot of people I tell that I'm coming out here and I go out by myself to where no one is, they'll freak out a little bit. They don't know whether they think that's a bit scary or a bit weird, but the truth is, I mean, I don't need to be around people, don't get me wrong, I like people, but I love my own space too, and I'm quite happy in my own skin. And just being out here by myself with nobody, absolutely nobody around, it's a great time for, I don't know what, all sorts of things, reflection, deep thought, thinking, ideas come for various things, you know, my next camping trip, what I'm going to use on my camping trip, how I can make my camping trips better. So I love it. I just love that mind space of nobody around. You don't have to think about anyone else. You don't have to worry about, you know, conversing. You know, I might talk to the birds or the magpies, but really other than that, it's just the thoughts in my head, and the good clarity comes. I think it's just a mind exercise to get out and be out in the nowhere or with no one. Just how the thoughts in my head start to clear and clarify, and I don't know, all the, not that I have many worries in truth, but the worries of the day just, well, fade away pretty quick out here. They just sort of become insignificant, as they usually mostly are. And I just love that solitude. I think that's one of the best things about it. Anyway, I'll give you a bit of a look around. You can see that, but there's a whole lot of little swallows floating around. They're all just twittering around the van. I don't know whether they're checking me out or what they're doing, but they're just buzzing really close, chapping away as they go. Happy little fellas. Anyway, that's part of nature that I love. I don't know if you can see this, and I'm only using my iPhone as a camera. Pretty much all I've got. I do have a little DJI Pocket 2 camera. One of those gimbally things. I'll use that too. Hopefully the quality of the film's not too bad, and try not to make them too clunky. I'm not going to invest in a lot of camera. But anyway, there's some little wildlife activity. I don't know whether he's been to the toilet there, but didn't see him come in or go out. Anyway, that's one of the many, many kangaroos that are hopping around the joint. Yeah, just they seem pretty tame. I think that one's got one of those ones has got a little joey on board. So nature at its best. Yeah, there they are. They're hard to spot sometimes. Another one just sitting in the grass, chewing away, enjoying the sunshine. Scenery, it's just fantastic. And this weather, I couldn't have picked it better. There really isn't a breath of wind, and there is just not one cloud in the sky anywhere. It's just terrific. There's my little setup over here. So this is really just the bulk of it. It's a little 1998 Infinity Gazelle pop-top caravan, travel trailer, what do you want to call it? It's definitely not an off-road version. It's just really a road van, and I really do you know, obviously take into account where I'm going to go, that van will go and be able, but it really is quite good for the purpose. It's very basic. It's just, you know, 2 beds, a kitchenette, a little dinette inside. I have put, as I said earlier, some mods and cons in it just to make it more suitable for off-grid, because there's no power out here and I'm really running on battery. It's got a 120 watt lithium battery in it, 120 amp hour I should say, and that just really is just to power lights and charge phones. It doesn't do much else. A bit of recharging of some of the little 12 volt lights I have, and you know, if it gets hot I run the fan, or if it gets cold I run the diesel heater. It doesn't need me to put out solar for probably 4 or 5 days. It really just doesn't draw that much. So it's a good little setup, and it just suits me. I've just, you know, as I said, I did a few things to make it a little bit more comfortable for me, but perfect for this task. I bought it off an old fella. He was 98 years old, and he was still towing it. Incredible old guy. He had such a good wit about him. And the only reason he sold it was because his family had told him he was too old to be doing that. And he'd lost his confidence on that basis. And I guarantee when I drove away, that guy had a tear in his eye. He was so sad to see his little van go. But nonetheless, I'm looking after it for him. And yeah, he was a cracker of a bloke. I sat with him for about an hour and just talked about him, you know, life and stuff he'd done. And he was a fascinating man. 98, you couldn't believe it. He actually pulled out his license to prove it to me because I didn't believe him. He was so with it and so active. Great old bloke. Anyway, I'm glad I got his van. Now I'm getting the benefit of it. How's that for a perch? That's a great little spot to sit, capture some sun, look at the mountains. Doesn't get much better really. That's just beautiful. Well, here's a bit of a 10-cent tour of the, I call it the Manvan. And because we have two vans, we have a bigger van than this, which we go touring with for longer periods and got a lot more creature comforts. But this is my van. This is just for me. I just bought this so I can get away, go and have a trip alone. And my partner, well, she comes sometimes, but it's still my van. So hence the name, the Manvan, purely for my fishing. I'll give you a bit of a quick look inside. 10-cent tour, as I said. It's nothing spectacular, but it's home for while I'm away. I've done a bit of work in here. I've changed the floor, I've changed the curtains, I've sort of recovered the seats. They looked a bit daggy and old-fashioned before, but yeah, I don't know, just creature comforts and cosmetics really. I don't mind the mess. This is the usual situation when I'm away in the van, so all my stuff in here that I use generally. And as far as the beds go, I sort of went through, I don't know, a few changes with that. I really found that these sleeping bags are the best things. They're quite thick. They're actually Kings. Kings is a brand here that's kind of on the cheap side of four-wheel drive stuff. You know, affordable for a lot of people who wouldn't otherwise buy camping gear. But anyway, these are really good sleeping bags. They're very heavy. They're not really good to roll up. They're quite bulky, but for what I've used them for, they're fantastic. They're so warm. I love them. And anyway, they've just done an amazing, you know, job while I'm away, particularly in the cold. You can take the liners out, so when it does get hot, you can, you know, thin them out a little bit. But there's a little fan I've put in here. Well, this is it. This is the van, I suppose. You know, everything in here's pretty much USB chargeable. All the things I use. I've got a little speaker here. That's USB rechargeable. I have all these little puck lights all over the joint. They're all, you know, just little touch lights, USB chargeable, sit on a stick with a magnet. I did buy this little, well, let's call it a faucet, little tap. This is great. You can, you don't have to do this two hands, but you'll get the gist of it. Hang on one sec. There you go. Push the button and water comes out. And it's just magnificent. It was all of about $12 or $18 or something. I can't remember. It wasn't very expensive, but what a great little thing. I usually carry about 18 litres of fresh water. That's usually more than enough for a couple of days away. Apart from what I've got in the tank, I've got a sink here. Has a little pump on that. There's about 60 litres of water, so I don't really have too much issue going away for 3 or 4 days with water. As a rule. Yeah, it's got a little fridge. It's got a little microwave, which probably comes in handy if I'm ever on power. But other than that, I don't really use the electrics. It's got a stove inside, a gas stove. I don't really use it that much unless it's really bad weather outside. But most of my cooking's done outside. I've got a lot of gas stove gear, so that pretty much, you know, is where I do all my cooking. And anyone who wants to have a bit more of a tour of the van, yeah, just let me know. I'm quite happy to show you all the stuff in detail and, you know, what I did to it. But yeah, just, it's perfect for the task. It's bright, it's airy, it's cool, you know, cool in the summer and warm in the winter. That's all you need, really. And dry. It's dry when it rains. That's what I love. And that's my front doorstep. Well, I'm about to get my cup of tea going for the morning, but I bought this thing too. This is a little, I think they call it a cassette stove. It actually folds up quite neat. It takes these little gas cans here. They just sit on there, and you know, it's got a self-igniter. It's got a little valve. It comes with this little trivet thing, and you just pop your pot on there. It actually throws out quite a bit of heat. And it's a wee ripper. I really think I paid about $25 for that, but it folds up to nothing. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's folded up. Okay, so that's it. That is it in its entirety. Everything but the gas can you saw before is now in that little case. So it opens out, it's got a couple of little legs on it that fold out. And then of course, once you've done that and taken all the insides out, set that up, it just becomes a little base on which to rest your pot. It's great. Can't do this very well one-handed, but anyway, you get the gist. So that's a little cover guards come off, but anyway, that's it. And that just basically sits inside there. It's got a way of fixing so it doesn't fall out, but that's it. And then you just pop your can on there. That's a bit of a trick to it, but that's easy enough. And then once you've got that going, you've got a quick and easy little stove. It's great. All right, so here we go. Look, I'll just fire this up. So the gas is on. Flick the switch, and boom, there it goes. Put the pot on there, and I'll be boiling water in no time. And there it is. Just waiting to boil. Cup of tea coming up. Look this guy out. He's happy sitting under a tree. Yeah, these are quite incredible. They're amazingly clean. I think this little guy's happy to be here too, aren't you, mate? Hey. Not bothered by me. Obviously he had a lot of contact with people, so they're not too shy. As long as they don't get too friendly. But anyway, I thought, yeah, have a look at this. Not that you want to see much of a toilet, but I think they're beautiful. They're clean as. Fantastic. Whoever looks after this place, credit to them. Anyway, money well spent too. There we go. Some late risers for the morning. Not quite ready for the day, or maybe that is their day, I'm not sure. Either way, pretty cruisy. Happy to be here, that's for sure. What a life. Not a bad spot to call home, is it, guys? Well, part of camping's eating, and I guess this morning's breakfast is going to be pretty simple. I don't try and overcomplicate anything. So tomorrow, tomato, cheese, a bit of ham. That'll go in the pan, toast that up. Quick and easy meal for brekkie, and tasty. There it is. Let's just wrap that up and get it in the pan. Okay, so for this exercise, I'm just using this little companion stove, run off one of those little fly spray bottles. I've got this adapter cord, actually works quite well. So I'll just get the pan on, and away we go. Warm that up a little bit. Put a little bit of spray oil in there. A bit of spray oil on the sandwich. Get him up there. Toss him in the pan. And away we go. So this little adapter cord is actually coming, or a gas hose I should say, not a cord. It's actually come in handy for a lot of reasons. It adapts to this gas can, which is these fly spray type bottles. They usually go in those lunchbox cookers. It has an adapter here, which is like a Coleman bottle and fits into that regulator. So I can basically power that stove off any type of gas bottle. So I can run it off this. I can run it off those 430 odd gram Coleman bottles, you know, the green ones. Or the little camp gas bottles, you know, the isopropane bottles. I can run it off one of them because I've got an adapter. That adapter there fits those little gas cans. So I'll just have to take that part off and that screws straight to it. Or I've even got an adapter from this fitting here to a normal LPG gas bottle. So I could run it off just a, you know, normal POL fitting. So there's nothing I can't run this off in terms of gas bottles. that little stove is a beauty. It doesn't chuck out a lot of heat, but it really is quite handy, especially when there's no wind and you don't need a lot of heat. Like I was doing a stir fry, I wouldn't use it, but you know, just for toasting and cooking up some bacon and eggs, it's quite adequate. But the versatility of that, no matter what gas supply I can get or have at hand, I can run this stove, all with that little gas hose adapter. And I got it off AliExpress or somewhere. I think it was only like a $25 or something for all the bits and pieces. And for me, it's been a great little investment. I love it. All right, now that's cooking up beautifully. So this is the other type of gas can I often have. This is more like for hiking stoves, which I do have a jet boil kind of thing, which that goes onto that and works quite well. Everything has its upside, its downside. Like these, for instance, they're super cheap. They're super cheap. You buy like 4 of these for about $6.50, I think, and they don't get super hot. They're only butane, so they're not as good as this, which is the butane and propane mix. These don't work terribly well in the cold either. So if you've got colder weather, the gas doesn't evaporate. It's got a very high or very low boil point. Sorry, I should say high boil point. So if it gets down about 5 degrees Celsius, these don't work so well. These, on the other hand, they'll go down a lot further. I think they might go down about 20 degrees below or something, but these are an option if you have got colder weather. But there's different types of fittings. So this part of that adapter goes onto there, as this part of the adapter goes onto here, obviously. Downside is too with these, a lot of waste. I mean, you burn through these, and you've got to do something with them. So it's just another thing to dispose of, in both cases. They're non-refillable, so you've got to chuck them out. I don't like chucking them out, simply because, you know, you're never sure if they've got residual gas in them, and they shouldn't go in a bin if they've got gas in them at all. I did, and I'm still waiting on buying, or have bought but still waiting to receive it, is this little tool that once they're actually empty, you can puncture them. They're just like a little sort of cam-operated thing that cooks over that lip and punches a hole in it, and it works on these as well. And basically that way, you know, all the gas is out of it. You actually crush them down a little bit so you know they're actually empty. So I'm getting hold of one of them because I really don't like putting those in the bin. I know they're empty, but the bin guys don't know that, and they could be potentially. A lot of people could be putting cans in the bin which are, you know, still got gas in them, which is not a good idea. Anyway, so yeah, that's the types of gas cans I use, as well as that bigger Coleman type bottle. Now these can be quite expensive, in so much as that if you go into your general camping store, these can be anywhere. For this size, I think it's about 200 odd gram. 227 grams. Now for this, they are literally about $15 at your camping store, maybe more, depending on what brand you buy. You can buy jet boil ones, and I don't have any affiliation with anyone or any gripes with anyone, but just to pay more for a brand is kind of ridiculous when the same stuff is in them. It's the same shape, takes every, you know, appliance that fits that. I think it's an EN47 fitting. Yet these ones, I buy these for $4.50 at Bunnings. Bunnings is a huge hardware store here in Australia. So $4.50 as opposed to sometimes $20 for exactly the same thing except for the printing on the can. I just can't justify buying those anywhere else. But yeah, I just can't see how that happens. Anyway, someone's making some money. But these things are usually pretty cheap. But there is the disposal factor. There is the low temperature factor. High temperature, use mostly around, I'd say 10 degrees plus outside. These go way colder, burn a bit hotter too, so you do get a bit more energy out of the iso or the butane propane mix, which tends to burn the, flame a little bit hotter. Either way, I've got options, so I can use whatever. As I said, I can also hook up to a little LPG bottle if I need to. So I've got all bases covered. So yeah, really no shortage of options. One of the things, obviously, with these little outdoor stoves is that they are at the mercy of the wind. And you don't need much wind. If you get a little breeze, all that wind breeze just takes the heat out from under the pan. So often helps to just have one of these little wind guards. It's not blowing a gale here at all, but there's sometimes just this little puff of wind or breeze that's just pushing the heat out from under that pan and and just slowing down the process. But anyway, I'll put that there, so it's heating up quite well now. So look at that, starting to look nice and golden. Beautiful. Ready to eat in a couple of minutes. Okay, look at that. I'm calling that done. We'll call that done. That is done. So just switch that off. And let's go off and enjoy our brekkie in the sun. Beautiful spot to sit. Lovely. Look at that. Hey? What a tremendous outlook. And that's what I call breakfast. Now, if this isn't a great place to eat your breakfast or even do breakfast, I'll go here. Look at that, beautiful, crispy and flaky on the outside. That's pretty much done to perfection. There's not a whole lot happening here at the moment. The access to the river's been pretty disappointing, plus the flow of the river doesn't make it very easy to fish it. And not a whole lot of other stuff going on here. It's just an enjoyable day sitting in the sun, editing a bit of video. But other than that, I think I might just get myself in order to pack up in the morning and head home. But still got the rest of the day to go. It's only about lunchtime. So I might get on to some lunch and then put some thought into dinner and then head home. I don't know, maybe early in the morning, but still a lovely day. So I'll enjoy it while I'm here. You know, it never seems to fail. Wherever I go, there's always a magpie to keep me company. How's that work? So it's getting towards about 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm going to cook dinner. Well, I will cook dinner eventually, but I'm just going to simplify it and have sausages, probably in a wrap with some bacon, maybe some salad, a bit of cheese and some kind of condiment. I think it'll be nice and easy, but you have to take the food out of the freezer to cook it. Frozen. Anyway, I'll leave them in the sun for a bit. There's still plenty of sun around, so I'll sit them in the sun and they should be ready pretty soon. Hopefully they'll thaw out in time for dinner. Anyway, see what happens. So for dinner we're pretty much doing a mixed grill in a wrap, I guess. So I've got some venison sausages, a bit of nice streaky bacon, and I'll cook all that up and then we'll put in the wrap and continue on. There's a few mozzies around somewhere. I think it's about time to light up the mozzie coil. Get that going. Right, well here we go. This is pretty much dinner for the night. This is going to be a just a bit of a hodgepodge, but it's just easy. I like easy. So it's just a little bit of tomato salad, as in lettuce. I've got this beautiful caramelized onion. Love it. This is something I bought. I think I got it at Aldi, actually. This stuff has been a killer in terms of it's got so much flavour, adds so much punch to a little, you know, anything. Toasted sandwiches, these sorts of things. Just a little bit of that on there makes a world of difference. delicious stuff. Anyway, now a little bit of cheese, just a bit of sprinkle. There you have that. And my number one favourite, sriracha. I love sriracha. So a bit of that on there. A bit of kick. I might even try a little bit of this. A bit of American mustard. Give that a bit of a shake. Pop some of that out there. Righto. Now we need a sausage and a little bit of bacon. Beautiful, look at that. Okay, we're ready to wrap that up. Crack into it. So let's do that. And we're going to do this. We'll just take that end up, roll that all over. Just create a little bit of a base in it so it doesn't dribble everywhere. And there you have it. Look at that. Delicious. Well, gotta say, that was so good. I'm gonna have another one. Right, well, the house is back in order. Dinner's done. I think I'll try my hand at getting that fire going outside. It's actually, I think the wood's a bit green. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I'll give it a crack. It seems to be going. Just wait till that takes a little bit on that kindling and then we'll get some logs on it. Not terribly cold, but it's just good to have a fire going, I think, just to, you know, have a bit of evening entertainment as much as anything else. There's absolutely no service out here too, by the way. And no cell network, nothing. It's important to know that because I carry a PLB with me when I'm out in areas like this, just in case anything happens. I think that's just a good safety strategy to always have some means of communication, no matter what that is. You never know what can happen. I mean, I'm always careful, but who knows? So PLB's always tied to my belt, but yeah, definitely no service out here. That's a good thing. It's good to be out of touch from all of that electronic stuff, all the social media, news, phone calls, email, anything. Just a break from it is really good. I think just all that electronic EMF is, I don't think it's doing any of us any good, but don't know for sure. But it's good to be away from it. I know I feel better for the fact. Anyway, I'm going to sit here and enjoy this camp TV and have a cup of wine. Just about to pack up and head home. I think I'll try and beat the rain. Looks like some coming. And looks like there's a few geese coming. Not sure what they are. Middle of nowhere. 3 geese. 3 white geese. There you go. You're very friendly, aren't you? You crazy things. Where have you come from? You're noisy too. Hey? You are? You're crazy. Well, that's me packed up. I've had my breakfast. I had a banana, had a cup of coffee and an apple. That'll do me. Now I'm off. Had my little visit from the wild geese. Well, hardly wild. That was a bit different. Anyway, see what you think of this video. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Otherwise, see you in the next one maybe.